Look, are you advocating for WWE to die as a company, or do you want to see them change? That's the real question I'm asking everybody in today's video, because it is the most important question as a wrestling fan, especially if you are a fan who wants AEW to succeed. Truth be told, if you want AEW to succeed, you sure as hell don't want WWE to die, because statistically speaking, when it comes to professional wrestling, WWE is the leader. Now, you might not call it pro wrestling, you might call WWE sports entertainment, just as they call it that, and I understand that. There is a difference between personal opinions, and there is a difference between that and facts. Factually, WWE is number one. You take the major player who has a mainstream audience, right, the casual audience, which we all one day want to see that happen for AEW, right? But if you want to see that happen for AEW, you got to make sure WWE is not losing momentum, and WWE has lost momentum. So today's video, we're going to talk about this because WWE is about to embark on a new journey as a TV-14 company. First, we got to talk about Willow. If you guys don't know Willow, this is the secondary character for Jeff Hardy. We've seen it in TNA. We also saw it as a young man when he was in Omega, his little promotion that he had in Carolina. Now, when speaking to Alistair McGeorge of Metro, Jeff Hardy basically came out and revealed that he had some great ideas for Willow. Obviously, he was inspired a little bit about Bray Wyatt when the lights were shutting down and stuff like that. And on top of that, Jeff Hardy revealed he has yet to pitch anything to WWE. But there was something I thought that was really, really cool, and I want to read this off to you. So he said, I've had ideas like a Jeff Ross character. Like I was a painter, a really silly painter, Jeffrey Ross, and then Willow would be my friend. But then that's too much like the Funhouse, in reference to Bray Wyatt. But that's what's cool about pro wrestling. Anything's possible and anything can make sense if it is thought out correctly and really believed in. Now, the problem that I have here with Jeff Hardy bringing in this character to WWE, because the belief is it will eventually happen. WWE obviously had Jeff Hardy lose. He's putting over some people, that type of thing. Eventually, it's said that he is going to get that run. But the problem that I have here, and he says it perfectly, is it's got to be correctly believed in, right? Like, you got to believe in it. You got to believe in this gimmick, and you got to like actually plan and think of it carefully. Jeff Hardy did something very cool in TNA, but it didn't come to WWE, and I think that's because we had Bray Wyatt. Now, I think the problem is WWE needs to do this before AEW snatches up Bray Wyatt. Because if AEW snatches up Bray Wyatt and we see the Bray Wyatt lights going off and all that type of stuff in AEW, then it's very clear that WWE is doing this in response to that. And I don't think that's a good idea because I think there's intrigue between both characters, right? WWE needs to do something right here. Give Jeff Hardy the opportunity to bring this gimmick to life immediately. Think about it. Look at some of the things that he's done before. Start incorporating some cinematic elements. Start doing these crazy, weird things that Jeff Hardy has, because creatively, Jeff Hardy is really good at what he does. And I think this will start to get people to believe that WWE, when giving people freedom, can be a great product. Because again, if you're advocating for WWE to change, not just creatively, but as a company in general, then it starts with giving your people a little bit more freedom and less micromanagement. If you don't want to see Willow in WWE with Jeff Hardy in control of the gimmick, then you're not advocating for change, and I think that's the problem. If you're not advocating for change, change doesn't happen. We got to talk a little bit about AEW Full Gear. The numbers are down. It is being expected that Full Gear's numbers, pay-per-view buy rates, are expected to be less than AEW All Out. Meltzer was talking about this in comparison to All Out with the Google searches. Full Gear had about 50,000 Google searches, which right now the prediction is around 100K pay-per-view buy. So again, not a failure, not bad or anything like that, but it is in the opposite direction of what All Out did. All Out did over 200K. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want to talk about the pay-per-view model, and I think this is a really, really important thing to discuss, because when it comes to AEW success, I think one thing that they need to do is take some notes from WWE. WWE launched the WWE Network. All in all, at the time it was done, it was the best technology and the best service. But as time has gone on, we have learned that the WWE Network was a failure, just like pretty much every other streaming service. Okay, it's streaming is not the big thing right now, as much as people actually believe it is. Now, with that being said, WWE Network went to Peacock. We lost all the great features of WWE Network, but we still get a lot of content, and it's only $5 a month, right? If AEW can do this with their pay-per-views, there is far more people that are going to watch the pay-per-views, okay? People tuned in to All Out because we knew CM Punk's first match was Darby Allin. We knew that there was talks of Bryan Danielson. We knew there was talks of Adam Cole. I was bringing the news on this channel. A lot of people were getting excited about it. And when we were talking about this, people were more likely going to buy the pay-per-view. Now, with Full Gear, it did not have the same level of hype as AEW All Out. Again, not a big deal, but for $50 a pay-per-view, 4 pay-per-views a year, I don't personally see a problem with that. But most people do, and I think that's got to be part of the solution, right? How can we get these pay-per-views or these special events in more people's eyes, and that way we can make more money? And I think that really comes down to a lot of things that Warner Brothers and HBO Max, and again, it's a large conversation. I don't really know where that goes to. All right, guys, NXT 2.0, some very, very cool stuff happening here with NXT 2.0. We've actually talked about this on the channel about a month ago, roughly, maybe a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about WWE NXT 2.0 being less scripted, okay? And so far, we've seen this actually with WWE. With certain wrestlers, you are starting to notice that the scripts are coming off. Some people are delivering great promos, and then if you watch SmackDown, you watch Aaliyah, it kind of looked like she was reading a teleprompter, right? No fault to her own. It's the way WWE does things, being heavily scripted and stuff like that. It makes an issue. Now, WWE NXT 2.0 has the opportunity to go TV 14, and this is coming from WrestleVotes. As you guys know, WrestleVotes has always been a credible source. Within the origins of this NXT 2.0 concept was an idea that the program's rating would shift from TV PG to TV 14. Source confirms that's still very much on the table, and USA Network is not opposed. If and when WWE decides to make the change is to be dated. This is fantastic. Again, the question I posed at the beginning of this video, are you looking for WWE to die, or are you advocating for WWE to change? If you're not a fan of NXT 2.0 because it reminds you too much of the main roster, this is going to be a way to take you away from that, right? Because obviously being TV 14 means a lot different of a product. Now, here's what I have to say about this, because I think this is so crucial to the success of the pro wrestling industry. Without WWE, the industry is nothing, okay? We love AEW, we love New Japan, we love Impact, but those companies are not doing what WWE has done. They're not reaching an audience like WWE reaches, and that's okay, because I think those products are a little bit more enjoyable than WWE. Now, as it stands, I am a fan of NXT 2.0, and for some reason that's controversial because you don't agree with it. So, again, are we advocating for WWE to die? Are we advocating for WWE to change? If WWE dies, less people get paid. Less wrestling on TV. Oh, and by the way, if the most largest pro wrestling company of all time dies, why would advertisers ever want to advertise with Impact or AEW when the largest one was not successful? Again, it's a great thing for wrestling, but we want change. We don't want WWE to die. That's the point of this, okay? NXT 2.0 going TV 14 is best for business. I truly believe that. And I think a lot of you guys deep down actually want that. I think that's what makes AEW a pretty attractive product. And guess what? NXT 2.0, we can figure out ways to get this more attractive to the younger audience, and then Raw and SmackDown could be just the typical BS that we get from WWE. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time right here on YouTube.